how are you today? The improved package has arrived. We're having it fitted in time for FP1. Have a look at the factory report.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Aarava here, and welcome back to my F1 2017 Career Mode, episode number 30 today for the British Grand Prix. Officially halfway through Season 2 now, our first season with Renault F1, of course, and we got a brand new part fitted. Obviously, in the middle of the last episode number 29, we bought this final durability upgrade to the internal combustion engine. So we're now working towards, like I mentioned last time, towards that shortcut now for the powertrain. If you did miss the last episode, by the way, be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. Of course, this is in essence kind of a bouncing back weekend, really, after a bit of a poor performance. Although, albeit, I still maintain it was all down to strategy, really, in the end. I believe still that if we were on that one stop, we could have done a lot better at that round. So I'm still quietly confident going into this one that really there's no real bouncing back here. It's just making sure this time round we get the strategy right. And of course, this time last season, we got the strategy wrong here at this very Grand Prix. At the British Grand Prix in the Toro Rosso, we went for a two-stop when we should have gone for the one-stop along with my teammate, and it just didn't work out for us. That Toro Rosso car did not have the pace to pull off a two-stop here around Silverstone, whereas this time round, well, we'll see how we do in qualifying, but depending on where we qualify, we need to make sure we get it right this time. But I think the Renault car, compared to the rest of the field, is going to be in a bit of a better place than the Toro Rosso was in Season 1 against that field, so I still think we could probably end up doing that same sort of two-stop, but now we'll be in a much better position to actually do that strategy. So going through practice programs in a bit of an overcast Friday here around Silverstone, and generally all fine and dandy, getting the full maximum amount of points we could around here, and just trying to manage the engine as well at the same time, still juggling those components. Of course, at some point we'll probably switch over to a lot of the component 3 actual parts of the engine, but you can see at the moment in practice we were already using engine component number 3 for the internal combustion engine and the MGU-H, although we were still using number 1 for things like the energy store and the control electronics. We can see now all green row for column number 3, which is nice to see, great to see actually, as we go into qualifying now, and we'll move swiftly into our Q1 lap time. So we're coming across the line now to end our first flying lap, and much like a lot of the times this season now in this Renault car, we're going to go around for another lap, because you can see on the top left we're only in P15, so not a great lap, but you know, generally now it just seems like this is the pattern now. I take one lap to kind of warm up to it, and you can see even though I lock up into the village section, still gaining some time there in the top right, and generally going a little bit more aggressive through the corners there and gaining time in time as we go through the entire lap. And by the time we get through to the last chicane, you can see on the top right gained a lot of time through the final corner, getting even more time. And so at the moment we're in P16 in the drop zone, but as we come across the line, it's going to be up into what will be P8 then, and comfortably into Q2 along with my teammate. We're actually ended up being in P11 by the end of the session, and my teammate's the one in P8. So Nico in that first session out-qualified me. So quietly looking very, very good and confident about the car's pace, not just my pace. Obviously, back in Austria, in qualifying, Nico just wasn't there in Q2, whereas now we started off on a different foot here. He's actually out-qualified me, now paced me, so let's see, this may be quite close here. Obviously, Silverstone's never really been one of those circuits where it's a chassis-determined track, really, in terms of, it's not like Spain where you see a lot of 2x2s, really, but this could be quite a close one between myself and Hulkenberg, and also the entire top 10 as we come across the line now, up into P3, and that is thankfully going to be enough to get us straight in, and Nico is there with us, so it's going to be a bit of a top 10 shootout here between us two. You can see at the moment I'm ahead of the two Red Bull cars, but that may be a bit of a different story as we get into Q3, because generally the top 6 guys will kind of turn up their engines a little bit, turn up the pace, and kind of show up and finally rock up into action, basically. But we're into Q3 now, so that kind of obviously confirms we will start on a set of super soft tyres, so that will kind of force us into the two-stop tomorrow at Sunday. But as I said, the Renault car is definitely looking a lot better on pace than the Toro Rosso ever did compared to the rest of the field. And so as we fly through Magnus Beckton now, at the moment Valtteri Bottas on provisional pole position, going oh so wide there, and just about keeping it on track there. Generally felt like an okay lap, but as you can see, going a little bit wide into the last chicane, so maybe lost a bit of time there, a few tenths. So here we go, across the line. Let's see what this is going to be. It's going to be LP8, just ahead of Nico Hulkenberg. Unfortunately pipped by my rival in-game Saint Felipe Massa, but you can see how close that is between myself and Nico. So yeah, that's really, really cool. That's really, really nice to see for the race. That may mean quite a tasty battle with my teammate. But you can see Bottas did end up getting that pole position, and the Red Bull cars, well, you can see the gap to Massa there, turning up the wick. So yeah, last time they got us, they jumped us. They're back into P3 of the championship, so it's going to be a bit of a tall order to maybe swing this back into our favour to re-overtake them. But as always, we'll try our best. Let's go to the grid sequence and see how it goes.
So as we look ahead to what I hope will be a very entertaining race, I have to ask Anthony Davidson what you expect to see in terms of strategy today. I mean, do you expect a lot of tyre management? A lot of fuel management?
Well, don't we always? I don't expect these are going to be any more important than usual, if I'm honest. What I do expect, however, are a lot of drivers getting into the pits early for some kind of undercut on fresh rubber. If you can pit before the person in front, have a good stop and drive a blistering outlap, there may be 1 or 2 seconds to be gained. If anyone gets stuck behind another car, for example, that will be the go-to strategy, surely.
With that then, let's run through the grid order. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Raikkonen, Daniel Ricciardo, and Verstappen, Massa, and a Renault, Hülkenberg, and Roman Grosjean, Perez, Magnussen, Esteban Ocon, and Kvyat, Stroll, Sainz, Fernando Alonso, and Pascal Wehrlein. Ericsson and Stoffel van Dorn completes the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
So here we are for a very sunny British Grand Prix. Surprisingly, you can see no rain in sight. And another surprising thing is the one-stop is still on. I really thought that we weren't going to be able to do the one-stop starting on a set of super soft tyres and slightly worn ones from Q2. But engineers think it's still going to be possible. And I'm going to trust them, because in Season 1, as I said, we really got that very, very wrong. And the car definitely had a bit more pace to get points that afternoon, whereas we didn't end up in the points. So this time, already starting in the top 10, as well as Nico being so close, the car definitely has the pace. So we're going to go for the one stop onto the medium tyres, go very, very long on that set of mediums. And if we can try and stretch this first in out, that's going to help us. Overfueling the car once again, because Rich Mix works a real treat with this Renault engine. So let's get going then. We go to 5 red lights for our home Grand Prix, the British Grand Prix here at Silverstone. 5 red lights are out, and we're underway here, and it's a lot of wheel spin actually for us in second gear there. Massa gets a good start, as well as Max Verstappen into turn 1, side by side with Raikkonen, Hülkenberg on the left, and Grosjean on the right. There's been a bit of contact. We've had to lift off as Grosjean, we made contact with him. We got sandwiched in between him and our teammate there. That got very, very frosty. Had to back out of that, because I almost kind of went into a half spin there, and that could have been very, very nasty into turn 1 with so many cars flying at you through that very high speed first corner. And so we're right up tucked behind Nico. Can we try and maybe make a move as we go towards Lufo? You can see it's 2x2 at the moment with the 2 Mercedes, 2 Ferraris. Then you've got Massa splitting the 2 Red Bull cars. Then you've got Grosjean ahead of us 2 Renault cars. And can we try and find a way around the outside? We actually can in 4th gear, finding some grip, having to just kind of feather the throttle, kind of ride the throttle and kind of sense when the grip's coming to us. Unfortunately for us though, Hülkenberg does get the good exit, and so on towards the old first corner. Cops, can we maybe size up a move? Doesn't look like it will get hit with a wash of dirty air. You can see having to lift off a tad. Look behind us, and Magnussen is right up our gearbox. But look at that, Hülkenberg nearly goes for a move into Maggots there. Grosjean going very slowly. There's already a huge gap ahead of him, and so we go side by side with Hülkenberg, as he's been caught up so much by the Frenchman in the Haas, and we go side by side on the exit. He's just got the legs on us, but we're tucked up right up in his slipstream. And now can we try and maybe force a move into Stowe, as behind us a Force India is trying to do the same thing to Magnussen. It's all very, very close between my left front tyre and his right rear tyre, but we're still managing to just hang it here. But as we go into the chicane, we're on the outside now. We've got our wheel on the grass, so we lock up quite badly on the right front tyre. Now we find ourselves defending from Kevin Magnussen as Hülkenberg gets away, skips away through the final corner, and we've got a bit of a gap now to close back up to our teammate, as meanwhile behind that Force India still trying to overtake Magnussen, not able to do it, as we move now on swiftly towards Maggot on lap 2. And once again Hülkenberg closing up again, having a little bit of a look, not able to make a pass through Maggot and Beckett. And meanwhile up ahead you can see just going off shot there, Massa is ahead of both Red Bull cars, so doing fantastically for the Williams team. Meanwhile, while Lance Stroll's nowhere down the order. Meanwhile, back back to our POV. Hulkenberg on the right, myself on the left. We go 3 wide with Romain Grosjean and Nico Hulkenberg. Absolutely awesome scene there, going round the outside of Stowe to maybe try and make it a double pass. We bang tyres a little bit on the right front tyre. We're on the inside now. Can we try and force him out? Doesn't look like it. We break a little bit early. Switchback move to try and get the better traction. Straighten up the car through the final corner. Squeeze him out. And that is finally going to be that move on our teammate. And a great bit of action there down that back straight towards Stowe. That was absolutely awesome to see 3 of us, 3 wide there, round the outside to make that move work on the Haas at least. And then getting the job done eventually with a very nice textbook switchback in the chicane there. And so now on towards lap 4. My teammate's still keeping me pretty damn honest, because you can see the proximity arrow popping up there through left field and unable to really close the gap too much to Ricciardo. And then as we progress through the Grand Prix, sliding through the last few corners there, having to control the car in all kind of senses, opposite lock a couple of times there. Our teammate is into the pits then, so he's coming a little bit earlier. We're going to go for at least one more lap. You can see the tyre wear is pretty damn high on the super softs there, 52% on the left rear tyre there, really getting punished around this very harsh circuit over the curbs as well. Obviously, we are no stranger on this circuit to some tyre-related issues a la 2013. Thankfully, that probably definitely won't be the case here, but we are going to have troubles with the tyres for any longer, so we're going to pit in this lap. We say box this lap, and quite amazingly, to my luck, as soon as I do that, the virtual safety car comes out. How lucky is that? I call box this lap, and literally I think there was 1 second delay, and the virtual safety car comes out. So it's not the same as having a full-blown safety car. If the full safety car came out then, I would have been in the money. That would have been very, very good for me. This is still going to help me, because the virtual safety car, obviously, everyone has to drive to a certain delta time, so they're not going, you know, if we look at Hulkenberg, he's not going to be going as fast as he would be around the lap at this point right now, or whatever part of the circuit he is, while I'm in the pit lane. So I was kind of scared about maybe losing a position to Nico, because I felt the undercut would have worked very well around here. Also, just looking at my lap time and the pace around that last lap on lap 8 on those super softs. But now with the virtual safety car, you can see it's just ending now, and we're only resuming green flag racing as I exit the pit. This is going to help out massively, because we come out of the pit and you're going to see there is that flash of yellow you may have just seen going through the first corner. As we go through into the panning shot of Village, there is Ricciardo, there is Nico Hulkenberg in the background there, so we are still ahead of him. So may not seem like much, but I really felt like we would have been behind him under normal circumstances. So I definitely think the virtual safety car still helped us out in that way. Obviously, I think a full-blown safety car would have been absolutely amazing. That would have been our luck for the entire episode, basically gone up in one moment. But now we move on to the end of lap 10, on towards lap 11, chasing down this Sauber car, Pasco Wehrlein. We've also got the McLaren, and I think the other Sauber of Ericsson up ahead, so trying to catch these slower cars that may have started on these tyres. Well, definitely for Wehrlein, we make a very bold move to the inside of the Village section. That was very, very late, and it almost looked effortless, to be honest, down the inside. They just slid in like you slide into some DMs, maybe, into that corner. Very, very slick that was on Wehrlein. That was a very satisfying move. So now we can close up very easily to Marcus Ericsson, and we go into Littlefield section. Up ahead, I can't tell, is that a McLaren or not? It may be a Red Bull. I can't really tell from here, but we'll find out soon enough, because we're going to close up to Ericsson on the exit, getting a great run here. We're in rich mix. Could we send this down the inside of the Swede into Copse? Here we go on the right hand side. He's going to have to leave us some room here, but we get it done even before really the corner even starts turning there, and you can see the downforce kicking in, and we managed to just about get that nearly flat out fully in 7th gear. We move on later, lap 12, and we've got, Esteban Ocon is out of this Grand Prix, spun into the exit of Copse, and so we gain a free position there, and so we're up into P9 now out of 20, although I'll probably think it will be P19 maybe soon enough. With Ocon stranded, P18 even. So another virtual safety car, I think, is that? Yeah, another virtual safety car, as another man is out of this race. It's going to be Magnussen out of this race and Ocon. So perhaps Ocon and Magnussen had a spin or a crash. Unfortunately, apologies, we don't have any kind of replay camera of that. Forgot to record that part. So I'm just going to have to guess that those two came to wars on the exit of Copse, really. I think I can imagine two AI cars trying to go side by side there is maybe not going to work out too well. But anyway, on to lap 14 now. We come out right by Lewis Hamilton, and Kimi Räikkönen so close to Hamilton's left-hand side. We just get ahead of him, our fellow Brit, and now we're tucked in behind the Iceman himself in the Ferrari. So these guys, I'm not too sure. Räikkönen out on a set of, okay, that's very odd. Räikkönen's on mediums, but Hamilton is on super softs. That is a very odd distinction of change of strategy between these two teams, Mercedes and Ferrari. Very, very aggressive from Hamilton and very conservative from Ferrari. Obviously, in real life, you've got to say Ferrari would have benefited from a more conservative strategy with their punches in the real life season. Although, we move on to lap 14, and Hamilton's back in the pits. He just came out the pits, and now he's back in the pits. Okay, Lewis. I don't know what's going on there with the Mercedes team, but they feel like the one lap of glory on super softs was needed. So very, very odd stuff. Anyway, we'll move later on. We'll move away from that to the other Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas, meanwhile, who's not having a bit of a weird strategy. He's trying to close down some cars, and behind him is Sebastian Vettel. Now, the reason why we're showing you these two cars is they're the two cars that may be in frame to come and chase us later on in the Grand Prix. These guys are on a 2-stop, I believe, and we're on a 1-stop. We're going to jump them, but they're going to be on a much faster strategy. They're coming up to those same cars we overtook already, the Saubers you saw there in just ahead of Bottas. Meanwhile, while we go through the laps on lap 15 now, with 11 laps to go in this Grand Prix, still going well on these mediums, coming across the line onto lap 16, still setting a green lap time there, so continuing to find some pace here, and we're up into P4 now as Massa pits as well. So Massa was doing a great job to be ahead of the two Red Bull cars on a 2-stop this afternoon compared to my 1-stop, so we're gaining another position there, and we may gain another, potentially. I don't know who is this on the left-hand side. It's I can't quite tell. I think that may be Marcus Ericsson out of this Grand Prix, because now he's down the order into P5, although before that he was in P5, so fantastic stuff from the two Sauber cars. And now you can see on the top left, Perez was in a podium position, and now he's pit. So there's so many cars that I actually didn't even know were ahead of me that were in a great position. So Perez and Massa were contending for podiums, apparently, before they came in for their second stop of the afternoon. Meanwhile, Bottas is going to finally overtake the Sauber and the Toro Rosso, 3 wide round the outside for Valtteri Bottas. It's a textbook move, and it's a move similar to the one I made against my teammate and Grosjean it was, but Bottas obviously gets both in one corner around the outside of Copse, as we got one of the Saubers pitting in, but Bottas overtakes those two cars, and Vettel's going to be right on the back of that Sauber of Wehrlein as well, his fellow German, as they cross the line. So Bottas is through the traffic. Will Vettel get this into the inside of turn 1? Very, very close stuff there for the German, but he is up the order. So Vettel going well as well and finding some great pace. Remember, Vettel was a lot further back from Bottas to all these cars, so Vettel's, I think, probably got a lot more pace than Bottas at this stage of the Grand Prix, closing up to Perez, that will be, and the Toro Rosso. I think this must be Sainz. So Vettel's got some a bit more overtaking to do in this afternoon. So here he goes in the same place Bottas made the move, with Perez also in the slipstream of the Toro Rosso. So he's going to move to the right. Vettel will go to the left, and it's going to be another copycat move round the outside of Stowe. Absolutely awesome stuff, and exact same thing as Valtteri Bottas. Very smooth there from Vettel, and Perez also overtakes the Toro Rosso car. So now Vettel can get on the back of the next car, which I believe will be Valtteri Bottas. So this is all going to get very, very close towards the end of this Grand Prix, because we come across the line. We're in P3 at the moment, and although you can see in the top right, we're setting green time, so we're still finding time. That was my personal best lap time of this race, but Bottas now has closed up, and Vettel not too far behind there. You can see just in the distance there, peeking over the crest of turn 1. So this is going to get very close. So for the rest of the race, I'm going to be defending from a Mercedes and a Ferrari. We've only got a couple of laps left, but it's going to be a task and a half in the dry around Silverstone. But I've got the home crowd cheering me on against the Finn and the German. So can we try and do this? So in towards Luffield, Bottas maybe looks for a move, doesn't quite make it. He's not got the overspeed there with DRS. So for now, we stay ahead, but through Luffield, he's going to close up quite a bit on the exit especially. He's going to find that downforce and grip from the Mercedes. Also remember, he's on soft tyres, and the same for Vettel as well. So this is going to have to be a real task and a half. Play this clever. We're going to drift to the inside here, going to give Valtteri the outside line into Copse. We're going to lift off a tad, go down to 7th gear even to make the corner. We give Valtteri all the room in the world that I could do. I was almost halfway across the curbing onto the grass, giving him enough room there, and he's still unable to hold it around the outside. So tactically playing that, that's a very difficult corner to hang it around the outside of, no matter what car you're in. Even if you are in the world beater Mercedes here or the Ferrari, very difficult place to do that. So we have to play this clever for the rest of this race to really do that. So we're going to have to, basically place the car very, very tactically, and that's what we're going to do once again. Going to the left-hander here on the inside. Vettel tries it. We look behind us. We've got the room. We're not going to chop him off there. We're going to give him the space, and we're still ahead. So this entire time, just sweating in this cockpit, really, just constantly looking behind me, trying to judge where I need to place this car, and we do so enough, because we're now onto the last lap of the Grand Prix through Maggott and Beckett, and they've only got one last opportunity to maybe make a pass into the corner, where all three of us have made a fantastic move around the outside to Stowe. So we go down the back straight here. We're on the left. We move to the right to try and break the tow. Vettel and Valtteri will keep to the left-hand side. We've got Kimi Raikkonen winning the Grand Prix. Meanwhile, into Stowe, Vettel unable to make the move. He does close up in the mirrors there into the final chicane. We keep it nice and calm through the last chicane there, and we go through the final corner, and we will pull this off. It'll be a fantastic podium at our home Grand Prix. Get in there. Kimi Raikkonen, first place. Max Verstappen, unfortunately, second. So Red Bull will probably still get points over Renault, unfortunately. But my home Grand Prix, the first podium at the home Grand Prix, absolutely awesome. Good to know that it's not a bogey circuit for me, and I can find some luck on home soil. But what a last few laps there. Really, like I said, sweating it out in that cockpit, just like Austria Season 1, trying to keep those cars behind. And you can see just tactically placing it, knowing where those guys would try the move, and knowing where I can try and keep it to the inside. They're not going to have the grip. And so we played it very, very fairly. And yeah, pulled it off. But I like to point out, all three of us made a move around the outside. You know, Bottas, Vettel made a complete move around the outside of Stowe. I made a half move around the outside of Stowe, and Grosjean then finished it off in the chicane. But I kind of find that quite neat, that all three of us made fantastic moves in that same corner, and we're the three ending up fighting right at the end for the last podium paying positions. But you can see, still keeping it ahead of in P5, ahead of the two Red Bull guys. But as I said, unfortunately, due to Max getting P2, we're still behind Red Bull Racing in the constructors. But you can see, it's still pretty close, you know. So we'll keep on fighting. Ferrari, interestingly enough, get up into first place of the constructors. So Ferrari, you know, last season it was all Mercedes consistency with Hamilton. This year, so far, Ferrari looking pretty damn decent with Kimi Raikkonen there doing the job against Vettel this season there. So that's one to watch. But as we go through to the end of this race, like Season 1, looks like we're going to get a contract offer potentially from some teams.
Hey, quick question. How are you here? Are you happy? I mean, obviously, I hope so, but you do have some other options if you're up for a new challenge. Let me just grab the door. I had a call from another team a few weeks ago, and, well, things have moved on since then. These are the offers I've managed to put together for you. You don't have to do anything with them, but let me know what you think.
So we've got the mid-season contract offers here, so let's have a look. It's going to be some very, very juicy offers from Mercedes, Ferrari, and oh look, Red Bull. Now you want me. Now you want me. Okay, mate. Okay, nice try. We're not going to do Red Bull. We're never going to accept Red Bull. You know, maybe in 5 seasons' time down the line. I don't know. Maybe when I've forgotten about how poorly they treated me at the end of Season 1. But we've got offers from Mercedes and Ferrari for second driver positions. But for now, I'm going to respectfully decline. I don't know how respectfully they're gonna feel the decline. I feel like that may take a hit for our driver reputation. But I'm going to stick with Renault for at least the rest of this season. I don't know. Maybe Mercedes and Ferrari will come with another offer maybe at the end of the season. And when we get to that, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, basically. And I'll see what you guys are maybe thinking. Ultimately, obviously, at the end of the day, I'm going to make the decision because I need to be happy where I'm driving because I'm the one actually driving here. But for now, I'm happy with Renault. So we'll see what I think at the end of the season, where I think the car is at the end of the season. But for now, I'm happy where we are in our yellow banana car at Enstone at Renault. So that's going to be it. We're going to decline all 3 of those offers, and we're going to stick with Renault for the rest of the season, guys. So if you have enjoyed the episode anyway, though, hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around it, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been aarava. Hope you enjoy the rest of your days, and I'll see you guys next time.